When you were young, what was your dream? And are you living that dream or did you get talked out of it? You see, so many of us are living in the shadows. We're playing small and we are not living with the alignment and the determination to make our dreams happen. That's what we're talking about today on Clarity in Action. We are talking about what it means to have determination, to understand that our success lies in our struggles. And it's in those moments of challenge, failure, and being lost that is what defines us. And those are the moments that make us. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Clarity in Action. Welcome to Clarity in Action. This is the show where we have real conversations that are going to challenge your perspectives and drive real action. So if you are tired of holding back and you're ready to make bold moves, this is the show for you. Join us as we are going to take you from confusion into clarity. Well, welcome back, everyone. We have a fantastic episode of Clarity in Action. This one is going to spark your energy and really drive you into taking action. I am so excited to have my guest today, Mr. Shawn French. So, Shawn, welcome to the show.
What's up, my friend? So good to see your face.
You too. You and I met several months ago and I was on your show and we had an amazing conversation. So I had to reciprocate and have you on my show as well. So thank you for being here.
Honored and grateful.
You talk with a lot of people and help drive them into action by really understanding the power of determination. In fact, you have an entire show called The Determined Society. So I would love to kick this off by asking for you, what was your moment of clarity that you really keyed into the power and impact of determination?
That's a great question because I can look back at my whole childhood, playing baseball, overcoming, a potentially fatal blood clot, arm injuries, etc. But one thing that really sticks out to me is just this moment in time during the pandemic where I sat there in the mirror, I was looking at myself, fat bodied, it was broken, full of guilt and shame for a multitude of reasons. And most of all, it wasn't because I was doing anything, hidden or in secret that was bad in my life. It was mostly from a lot of failed relationships in the past, like friendships, not taking the sport of baseball past the Division I baseball level, which I was pretty certain I was going to play in the major leagues going into LSU, right? So I look at all these things and it was just this moment where I looked at myself. I'm like, it wasn't that I was just stuck. I was lost, right? And when I mean stuck or lost, Clara, it wasn't that I wasn't making great money in my sales career because I was doing really, really well, right? But the thing that I held so dear to me was the fact that my spirit was just silent. And it busted me. And it's so funny because I don't even think my wife has heard the full story of that defining moment for me. I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm like, no more lies, no more bullshit. Like, just, dude, be honest with yourself. And whatever energy you're in, lean into that dang energy, right? If I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm exhausted or full of energy, I'm going to lean into those moments and I'm going to start creating my reality by taking action. And so from that moment on, I really set out on this journey to take my physical body back and then also kind of take control of the only other thing that I could really take control of, which was my mindset, right? And, through going through different things daily of executing the plan, even when I didn't want to, people started to call me really, hey man, you're a really determined dude. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's how it started.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It resonates so much with me, things that you're saying. The pandemic was a shakeup for everybody. I'll say it was one of the best shakeups for me too, because it unlocked so much. I finally had time to really lean into some of the projects like starting a podcast and do those things. And I think, you talk about this idea that you were lost, your spirit was lost.
Yeah.
And I think so many live that way. And we hide in those lies, those excuses, that playing small. And that really isn't serving us to live the way we want. So, looking at this now, what does it look like when you sort of define having a determined soul? What does that look like?
What it really looks like is just, it's so funny because like a lot of people ask that, and I always think like, maybe I need a better answer. But and for the audience listening, like it's never the silver bullet. It's never the silver bullet that gets it done,
Yep.
right? It's just the monotonous, boring crap. And so for me, having a determined soul or determined mindset and really building my brand off of that one word is very, very simple. It was like, I said, I'm going to do something. So I need to get up in the morning and do it. And it's one thing to do it for a week. It's another to do it for 2 and 3. But what can you do long after the emotion wears off, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, this is getting boring. Maybe I'll sleep in. I'm like, wait a second. What did I say I was going to do? And from that point on, if I said, okay, I said I was going to get up today because it's a lift day and I need to be up at 4 so I can be in the gym and on the treadmill by 4:30, then I did it. No matter how much I hated to do it. It's like, okay, I said I would. And that's the biggest thing. It's doing the things that we say what we're going to do. And that is as simple as that.
It is. And it is simple. And we can say these things, put it into, an analogy of we wouldn't break our promises to our friends. So why are we breaking our promises to ourselves?
Yeah.
It is also easier said than done. So are there any other mental tricks that you do to make sure that you are showing up? So what I mean by this, for example, is when I'm laying in bed and I don't want to get up either because that's normal. I always connect with my vision, the impact I want to deliver. And that sometimes gives me the motivation. It calls me back to taking the actions I need. Do you do anything or have anything just internally that kind of helps you to get into action when you don't want to?
Yeah, I simply look at what was God's purpose in creating me.
Mm-hmm.
And if God's purpose in creating me was to sit in bed that day, then cool, I'm going to sit in bed that day and I'm going to feel fine about it. But if I am out of alignment of the vision that he had when he created me, it's like, okay, Shawn, you are meant to do this. And so if I don't pour into that one thing that's going to help me be better in all of the things that I feel that my purpose is, well, look, that to me is the shift. That's the trick.
Mm-hmm.
Is this aligned with my purpose? If the answer is yes, then I go do it. It's very simple. Like, again, it is not a hack. It is just being real and accountable with me. And if it's not in alignment, then cool, then I don't go do it. Right. So it's easier to make those decisions, right? It's like, okay, is this going to push me forward to be the man that I feel I'm supposed to be? That's the only thing. And then I think on the more real level too, like, every day, like when people like really connect their whys and things like that, for me, I look at, if I don't go do this, am I going to be best I can be for my wife and my children that day?
Mm-hmm. Great question.
And if it's a resounding no, then I have to go do it.
Yeah. Love it. So, you've lived through some of these
Yeah.
cycles where you were playing small, you were, lying to yourself. I know I've done it too. We've all done it. Why do you think it is that we hide in the shadows and that we do lie to ourselves and aren't making these decisions and being determined?
It starts when you're young, right? And it's usually it's usually bestowed upon you by the people that love you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, can you or the audience think back to a time where you're sitting at the dinner table with your grandparents or your family, mom, dad, doesn't matter whom, and you talk about this really cool idea, or you want to be an astronaut or the president of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and your mom or your grandma, or your grandpa, whomever goes, well, I know that's what you want to do, but if that doesn't happen, you need to have a backup plan because I don't want you to be disappointed. I don't want you to be hurt. Since when is it a parent's job or a family member's job to take the pain away and
Mm-hmm.
the struggle away, right? So I think it all comes from a very loving place, but it doesn't serve. It doesn't serve in a long-term lifespan, right? Because we start to play small, like, okay, the stove's hot, don't touch it. You know, that's not for me. That's for somebody else. Like, there's astronauts. Why can't I be one?
Mhm.
Right. So I think it really does stem from there. And then, of course, you go through your childhood, and if you make a mistake, right, and you fail, then it's this big thing where your friends are going to laugh at you, your teachers kind of poke fun at you because you failed at something, when really failure is like it's like the most awesome teacher.
It really
But
is.
we look at it in such a negative light. So I think when all those things happen, they stack up and they compound over your childhood. Then you get into your teen years. And by the time you're a young adult, it's just programmed. Play small. It's safe
Yeah.
here.
And, I really connect with that growing up early in my life. I think innately, I always knew I wanted to be a speaker. And it was the same thing. I thought, oh, I'll go into broadcast journalism. Oh, it's very competitive. It's really hard. And I was like, you're right. Maybe I should do something easier. And, here I am back to where I was, but I could have started 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe you experienced this on your road to playing baseball too. And, we buy into the safety of it, and the safety really isn't going to serve us. One of my very favorite sayings is I talk about that success lies in the struggles. And I think that's very similar to what you were saying too. Just like a butterfly, they struggle when they're coming out of the cocoon. But if they don't, their wings will not be strong enough so they can fly. If we're going to soar through life, we got to go through those struggles too.
Come on, man. You're speaking my language here because, like, and I'll get to it because I know you'll get to the point where you ask me what's next, right? But I'm going through this exercise, and I constantly think about this. It's like we want the goal. We want to be the number one motivational speaker. We want to be an author. We want a big podcast with people. You have like amazing celebrity guests and A-listers and the best athletes in the world come on the show, right? Everybody thinks that is the win.
Mhm.
That's not the win. That's a symptom. It's a symptom of all the pain, all the struggle, all the adversity, all the tears, all the fights with your spouse, all the irritation. Like those moments are what make you.
Mhm.
And those are the beautiful moments. And everybody wants to skip those, including myself.
Yeah.
How many times I wanted to skip through the pain because it hurts so damn bad. But then when I look back at it, like if I didn't go through that, I'm not where I am right now.
Mhm.
So it's a thank you.
And it's just like you said, all you can control is your mindset, and shifting that mindset from a scarcity to an abundance, to a moment of gratitude. It can change everything.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to go back to one of the things that you talked about. You said that we are programmed from a young age. We share our dreams and we get squashed. So, sitting where you sit now, I would love to ask if you were sitting down with someone, whether it's a child, a best friend, whatever it is, and they come to you with their dream. I want to start a new business. I want to leave my career and completely pivot. I want to be an astronaut. What would be a better way for us to respond to that, knowing it's a very small chance for them to do it, but at the same time, someone's got to do it. It might as well be them. So, what would be a better way for us as parents, friends, mentors, coworkers to respond to people when they come to us with their dreams?
Start at curious. And here's what I mean by that. Not why, not peeling back the layers and wondering why they want to do that, but ask them how, right? So a couple instances are happening right now in my own household. I'm going to use my daughter because I always talk about my son. I'm going to use my youngest daughter. Okay. She's 6 and they're doing an entrepreneurial competition. She's in kindergarten. She goes to this prep school and they do these amazing, amazing entrepreneurial competitions every year. Right. And she goes, "Hey, daddy, mama said you would want to do this with me." I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah. Like, let's do this." I'm like, "What kind of business do you want to start?" Right. And she goes, "Well, I want to help people." I'm like, "What does that mean?" She goes, "Daddy, like you. I want to help people like you." I'm like, "Okay, well, how would you do that though?" Right. Is it a shirt? Is it, like a book? Is it a coloring book? She goes, "Dad, do you think I could start a podcast?" I go, "I know you can. I know you can." I go, "What would that look like to you?" And so I get really excited and I'm asking her what it would look like. So now what we're doing with our children and people around us, whether you're mentoring a youth or your own people in your life, you're getting the imagination to work a little bit. You're getting them to start problem solving and walking down that road, right? of the ideas. And she comes up with this idea and goes, I want to start a podcast that helps children my age and a little bit older, like my brother, get through their big emotions. I'm like, huh. I go, what do you think is important about that? She goes, well, we sometimes we're little, so we're not heard. I go, by who? She goes, by adults. I'm like, wow. How does it make you feel? Really sad. So we start going through this whole thing. And what she doesn't know is I'm looking at this logbook, and we're doing the project right there. We had that thing done in 20 minutes. We had monetization, revenue sources. We had distribution platforms. We even had the show name, Panda Pause,
Oh my gosh.
because pause, like PAWS, like for pause, but also the emotional pause.
Right.
And so by doing those things with children or anyone you're mentoring, starting at curious and walking them through and asking them questions that are so deep and granular, that promotes the kid going to be an astronaut or whatever it is.
Oh my God. You're sharing that, and it's really like bringing tears to my eyes, because how beautiful is that? Not just because it is your daughter,
Mhm.
but again, going back to the purpose, what is our purpose, and thinking about the impact that she can make for generations. And it's all from this idea. And why can't that? You think about the invention of the light bulb. I'm
Mhm.
sure everyone thought that was crazy too.
Come
But
on.
look at, somebody has to do these things. And that's where I love it. It's why not you? And I think anytime we have these thoughts and we get caught up, because I think so many times, I even walk a lot of my people through the experience of doing a life list and writing down, what do you want the things to do, to become, to have, and to give. And so many times we get the idea in our head, but from the moment that we write it on paper, we've already talked ourselves out of it, because we get caught up in how. I
Mm.
always love to say the vision comes first, the how will find a way. Don't let the how talk you out of it.
I love you. I mean, like, I can't believe it's been this long since we've connected,
I
right?
know.
But like straight up though, and I don't say that it's not an empty statement. It to become, to have, and to get, right?
Mhm.
In order to get more and to have more, you have to become first. And
Yeah.
a lot of people like to switch that up. So when you said to become, I'm like, oh my God, like this right here is everything for your audience, like everything. You have to become. You cannot achieve unless you become that person that can achieve that. I can't be a good husband if I don't become first,
Mhm.
which I got a lot of growth there to do, by the
Well,
way.
we all do.
Let's be honest here, right? Oh man, but
And
yeah,
that's part of the journey, and it's understanding that it's never going to be perfect and it's always learning. And you can have 10 days of nailing it and then one day of setting back. That's part of it. But it's, are you learning from it? And again, are you determined? If you are determined to become that person, all you have to do is walk the steps every day and then you become that person. But
I,
you have to be determined again with that identity, with that passion first.
yes,
Which
so
is
good.
why I love your show, because you're really pulling back the layers and having these real conversations of, what does it mean to be determined, and what, when we make that decision, and we show up every day and take those actions, think about the impact it's going to have. And so many of the things that you talked about today, really looking at, am I living in this purpose? It's that bigger entity and the ripple effect that it has. So with everything you have going on, I would love to hear, what's coming up. What is next for you?
You're gonna be the first to hear it,
Ooh, I love this.
except my business partners and my wife, obviously, right? So write a book. I'm in the middle of writing. I mean, the outline's been done since January. The outline has been submitted to my book agent. She loves it. We're thinking we're going to get a pretty good deal out of this, with a big one. And I'm in the middle of writing my writing sample right now, my 5,000 word writing sample,
Mhm.
and it should be done. She gave me a 2 week deadline. It'll be done this week. Like I'll have it out,
Fantastic.
and then we will schlep it out there to all the publishers and see what happens. But I'm really excited about this one because this book is everything to me, right? It is on brand. I'm gonna say it's blood type determined. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in my stories every day. It's everything I talk about. I think there's something special in DNA of very, very determined people. And I just think that it just becomes a part of you. Like it really. And so one day I was joking around. My buddy goes, "Hey, what blood type are you?" And I'm like, "Determined." He goes, "Dude, dude." It was actually my business partner. He's like, "Bro."
That's it.
He goes, yeah, start using that, please. We need
Mhm.
to trademark that. We need to do all these other things. And then for me, it was very, very simple. After the journey started in December, with my health journey and everything that was going on and the growth of the show, it was like, dude, this is the book.
Yep.
This is the book. So I'm going to be going through some of the past failures, the things that should have broken me. And it's so funny because I asked my wife to read the whatever I had of the sample writing last night. And she was talking about some editing things. I'm like, Jackie, I'm gonna have an editor. I don't need you to pick apart my grammar right now or why is summer capitalized. I need you to tell me what you think. That's your assignment. That's all I need. She was like, okay, rude. I'm like, I'm just telling you, it's late and I can't deal with this grammar stuff right now. So she read it and I said, what do you think? She goes, I said, it sucked, didn't it? She goes, that was thought provoking. I'm intrigued. And I didn't realize how much happened to you that year. I was like, no, you don't understand. 1997, my grandma died of pancreatic cancer. I also graduated high school. 1998, I had a blood clot that ended my season, almost my life. Played the next year, got a scholarship to Louisiana State University, the number one baseball college in the United States of America. Literally 2 weeks after they won the national championship, showed up on campus, blew my arm out. Fought 2 years to get on the field. 2003 started the mortgage business. 2006 lost everything. Like you see a theme here,
Mhm.
and I look back at it, and those moments that I thought I was weak and losing, in like a just not even a man. Like those are the moments that built me for this to have this platform, to even have this show, to even write a book. Like it, it, it was the preparation. It was my spring training.
It was. I love the way you do that. And it's going to be amazing. And when you have the book come out, not only do I want to be one of the first person to read it, but I would love to have you back on the show to tell us more and promote it because it is going to change lives. And your story is powerful. And I can't wait to have you share that with the world. It's going to be amazing. One last question I have for you is sitting where you sit now, learning everything you've learned up to this point. How do you define success for yourself today?
I define success of my living out my purpose, and am I in alignment with who I want to be in my life, right? And that means it's a plethora of things, right? It's am I the show host I want to be? Am I the friend? Am I the husband? And most importantly, am I the father I want to be? And do they feel safe around me? Right? And not physically safe, but can my daughters talk to me? Can my son open up to me? Can my wife feel safe enough to tell me about her feeling? Obviously, sometimes she doesn't, right? Because let's face it, married couples that we miss the mark a lot, right? But to me, that's the ultimate success is like, does my family truly trust me and are they safe around me?
Fantastic. That's beautiful. Well, we're going to be sure to put all of your information in the show notes so people can follow you, follow your show, and definitely get on the list for pre orders to your books. And again, thank you so much. Tremendous gratitude for you, what you're doing, and thank you for being a guest on.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, we talk about those people who are like siblings from another mother, and that is Shawn and I. We have so much in alignment. I could have talked with him for days. So, some of my moments of clarity from our talks is this idea of, again, becoming. You need to get clear. Who is it you want to become? Define that and then walk in that path every day. Those mornings where you don't want to get out of bed, those days where you don't want to put in the hard work to do what you know you need to do, go back. Are you living the way you know you need to become the person you want to become? So powerful. That idea, get curious. Get curious with yourself, get curious with those around you. What does it look like for you when you create this dream? Remember, the vision comes first, the how will find a way. Don't give up on your dreams too early. Understand that. The power of determination. I love when he talked about his blood type is determination. We have to work with that. Know what you're doing. Knowing that in times that you feel beaten up, lost, where you're like, man, I'm just getting the hits from every angle. Those are the defining moments. Those are the times that create who we need to become who we know we can become. So I just really encourage you. There are people out there, they need this message. You might need this message, and I guarantee you there's others in your circle. So please make sure that you are sharing these messages, because when you are determined, you will be unstoppable. Thanks for being here. Make sure to like, follow, rate, and share this show, and make sure that we are living in clarity. I'm Clara Capano, and thanks for following us for another episode of Clarity in Action.